Life doesn't ask for permission before it throws curveballs at us, does it? One moment, everything seems fine, and the next, you're hit with a snarky comment, a missed deadline, or an unexpected setback. Before you know it, you've reacted, maybe with frustration, anger, or hurt, and you're left wishing you could have handled things differently. Sound familiar? If so, you're not alone. We've all been there, caught in the heat of the moment and regretting the aftermath. But here's the thing. While we can't control life's challenges, we can control how we respond to them. This video is all about flipping the script. Today we'll explore how to push back against life's pressures, not with anger or impulsivity but with grace. Imagine turning those tough, chaotic moments into opportunities to grow, learn, and even thrive. That's what we're here to uncover. So, whether you're juggling work stress, navigating tough relationships, or simply trying to stay grounded in a fast-paced world, this message is for you. By the end of this journey, you'll have the tools to pause, reflect, and respond wisely, no matter what life throws your way. Ready? Let's dive in. The problem: why we react. We live in a world that's always turned up to full volume. Deadlines loom, notifications ping relentlessly, and people's words or actions can cut deeper than we expect. In this constant state of stimulation, it's no wonder we find ourselves reacting impulsively. Think about it. When you're caught off guard by someone's criticism or a sudden inconvenience, what's your first instinct? Often it's to fire back, defend yourself, or let your frustration take over. These knee-jerk reactions might feel natural in the moment, but they often come with a cost: regret, strained relationships, and a sense of losing control over your emotions. Here's the hard truth: reacting is easy. It's almost automatic. But that ease is exactly why it can become a problem. When we react without thinking, we let the situation dictate our emotions and actions, leaving little room for clarity or intentionality. Over time, this reactive cycle can lead to burnout, physically, mentally, and emotionally. And the toll doesn't stop there. Impulsive reactions can damage your sense of peace, erode trust with loved ones, and even make you feel powerless. After all, how often do we look back and think, if only I'd handled that differently? The good news? You don't have to stay stuck in this pattern. There's another way, a better way, that allows you to regain control and transform those challenging moments into opportunities for growth. The shift in perspective: responding versus reacting. So, what's the difference between reacting and responding? On the surface, they might seem similar. They're both ways of handling what life throws at us. But the truth is, they couldn't be more different. Reacting is immediate, raw, and often fueled by emotion. It's the snap reply to a passive-aggressive comment, the hurried email sent in frustration, or the harsh words you wish you could take back. It feels instinctual because it is. Reacting happens before we've had the chance to fully process the situation. Responding, on the other hand, is intentional. It's about taking a step back, giving yourself the space to evaluate what's really happening, and choosing a course of action that aligns with your values and long-term goals. When you respond, you take control of the situation instead of letting it control you. Imagine this: a friend makes a cutting remark. Reacting might mean snapping back with something equally hurtful, escalating the tension. Responding, however, could look like pausing, taking a breath, and asking calmly, "Why would you say that?" This approach not only diffuses the moment but opens the door for understanding and resolution. The beauty of responding lies in its simplicity. It doesn't require perfection, just a moment of awareness and intention. And here's the best part: responding is a skill, not an innate talent. No matter how reactive you might feel now, you can learn to shift your perspective and embrace a more thoughtful way of handling life's challenges. Step 1. The power of the pause. The first step toward mastering your response is deceptively simple but incredibly powerful. Pause. When life catches you off guard, whether it's an unexpected challenge or an emotionally charged moment, your best move isn't to react immediately. It's to do nothing. That pause, even if it's just a few seconds, creates the space you need to break free from automatic reactions. Think of it like hitting the reset button on your emotional state. In those brief moments, you give yourself the opportunity to shift from reacting impulsively to responding thoughtfully. So, how do you pause when everything inside you is screaming to act? Start with something physical, like taking a deep breath. Inhale slowly, hold it for a second, and exhale even slower. This simple act doesn't just calm your nervous system. It gives your mind a chance to catch up with your emotions. Another effective technique is to count to 3 or 10 if the situation is particularly intense. These seconds may seem small, but they can be transformative. Imagine you're in a heated argument. Instead of firing back, you pause, breathe, and let yourself regroup. That tiny delay can stop an impulsive reaction in its tracks and help you approach the situation with a clearer head. Pausing also gives you the chance to recognize what's really happening. Is the situation as urgent or upsetting as it feels in the moment? Often you'll find that stepping back reveals a new perspective, one that allows you to respond with greater clarity and intention. Remember, the pause doesn't mean you're ignoring the problem or backing down. Quite the opposite. It's a conscious choice to approach the challenge on your terms, not your emotions. With practice, this step becomes second nature, paving the way for stronger, more thoughtful responses. Step 2. Shifting focus with intentional questions. Once you've mastered the pause, the next step is to shift your focus. This is where intentional questions come into play, simple yet powerful prompts that help you move from reacting emotionally to responding thoughtfully. During that pause, ask yourself, what's the outcome I want from this situation? This single question can completely reframe how you view the challenge in front of you. Instead of letting emotions drive your behavior, you're aligning your actions with your goals. For example, let's say a coworker sends you a passive-aggressive email. Your initial reaction might be to fire back with equal sarcasm or anger. But when you pause and ask yourself what outcome you truly want, you may realize your goal isn't to win the argument. It's to maintain professionalism or resolve the issue peacefully. This realization shifts your focus, allowing you to respond in a way that's productive rather than reactive. Another helpful question is this worth my energy? Not every battle needs to be fought, and not every slight requires a response. By pausing to evaluate the importance of the situation, you can save your energy for what truly matters. You can also try, what's the other person's perspective? Often, our reactions come from assuming the worst about someone's intentions. By considering their point of view, you might uncover reasons for their behavior that you hadn't thought of before: stress, insecurity, or even a simple misunderstanding. These intentional questions serve as a mental compass, guiding you toward responses that align with your values, priorities, and long-term goals. They help you step outside the heat of the moment and approach challenges with clarity and purpose. At first, this might feel unnatural. It's hard to stop and think when emotions are running high. But like any skill, it gets easier with practice. Over time, you'll find yourself naturally shifting from "why is this happening to me?" to "how can I grow from this?" And that's where real transformation begins. Step 3. Cultivating gratitude in tough moments. Gratitude might seem like the last thing you'd reach for when life gets hard. After all, how can you possibly be thankful for challenges, setbacks, or difficult people? But here's the truth. Gratitude isn't about ignoring the difficulty, it's about finding a way to rise above it. When you consciously look for something to be grateful for, even in the middle of a tough situation, you shift your perspective. Gratitude helps you focus on what you have instead of what you lack. It transforms problems into lessons and obstacles into opportunities. Here's how it works. Say you're stuck in traffic, running late for an important meeting. Frustration builds as the minutes tick by. But instead of letting it consume you, pause and ask yourself, what can I be grateful for right now? Maybe it's the fact that you have a job to go to. Maybe it's the chance to listen to a podcast you've been meaning to catch up on. That small moment of gratitude doesn't change the traffic, but it changes you. Or imagine you're in the middle of a heated argument with a loved one. Pausing to find gratitude might feel impossible, but what if you reframed it? What if you said to yourself, I'm grateful we care enough about each other to work through this? That gratitude doesn't erase the disagreement, but it softens your approach and creates space for resolution. Practicing gratitude in tough moments isn't about forcing positivity or ignoring reality. It's about anchoring yourself in the present and choosing to see the bigger picture. Over time, this habit rewires your brain to find opportunities for growth, even in the hardest of times. Gratitude doesn't need to be grand. It can be as simple as appreciating the breath you're taking, the lesson you're learning, or the strength you're building. These moments of gratitude serve as a reminder. No matter how difficult life gets, there's always something to hold on to, something to grow from. A real-life story of transformation. Sometimes, the best way to understand the power of responding with grace is through the stories of those who've walked this path. Let me share a story about Sarah, a close friend of mine, who learned the hard way that reacting impulsively wasn't serving her. A few years ago, Sarah was in a high-pressure job that demanded her full attention. The stress was constant, and she found herself snapping at colleagues and loved ones without thinking. Her work relationships were strained, and at home she was always on edge. One day she had a major blowout with her boss over something that, in hindsight, wasn't a big deal at all. Sarah had reacted immediately, feeling attacked, and it escalated quickly. Later, she looked back on the argument and regretted it, both the words she said and the emotional toll it took on her. But that incident became a turning point. Sarah realized that she didn't want to live in a constant state of stress and regret. She wanted to be more present, more grounded, and more in control of her reactions. So, she started practicing the steps we've discussed. Pausing before responding, asking herself what outcome she wanted, and, most importantly, finding gratitude even in tough situations. Over time, Sarah saw a remarkable change. Her relationships at work improved because she no longer snapped at small irritations. At home, she became a better listener, responding with empathy instead of frustration. Her newfound ability to pause, reflect, and choose her responses helped her reclaim her peace and her sense of control. Sarah's transformation wasn't overnight. It was a gradual process of learning how to slow down, choose her responses, and build emotional resilience. But the results were undeniable. She felt less burnt out, more fulfilled, and most importantly at peace with herself. Her story is a powerful reminder that responding with grace isn't just a feel-good concept. It's a tool that can fundamentally transform the way we live, work, and relate to others. And if Sarah can do it, so can you. Final encouragement. Now that you've explored the power of responding with grace, it's time to put these steps into action. Take a moment to think about the next challenge you'll face in your day, whether it's a tough conversation, a stressful task, or even just a moment of frustration. How will you respond? I encourage you to take what you've learned here and start practicing. The next time life pushes you, remember the pause, ask yourself the right questions, and look for the gratitude that can turn any situation into an opportunity for growth. Share your experiences in the comments below. I'd love to hear how these techniques are working for you. You have the power to transform your reactions into responses that align with your true self. With each pause, each intentional choice, you're building a life of emotional balance and inner peace. Keep practicing, and watch as these small moments of grace add up to a profound shift in the way you live and connect with the world. Thank you for taking this journey with me. Don't forget to subscribe for more tips on living with intention, and remember, when life pushes you, push back with grace.